Okay, guys, I won't do this anymore. Just for you guys knows, I had a lot, like 40 some plus people, and this thing only holds 50. And obviously, some people said they were going to be on, and they're not. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to leave it open, and whoever's first come, first serve from now on, I'll just let it be first come, first serve. But what I want to do is you guys, I've learned so much from this, just from my own doing going forward, because I don't think we can ever learn enough. And what I want to do is I condensed kind of my lead school. I'm going to have to jump to different slide decks because I couldn't get everything put on that I wanted to get put on, and I downloaded some stuff onto new system. And so you're just going to have to bear with me as I go through it, but it'll be recorded and you'll be able to go back and kind of look at it. Most of you guys know me, but I want to go over some of the simple things, because what I've learned from being out in the field, and Brandon and I were talking about this week, is that we know the basic things, but we don't do the basic things. And so when you're looking at databasing, like I've got people that I've sat down with and told them, I showed them how to do it and did it, said, hey, can you, and there's many different ways to do it. You got the LifeVantage Pro app, the very first app that we had, and now we have the new LV Move, which is tremendous. If you're not using LV Move, you should be, because it's amazing. It's it's a very inexpensive way to help you build your business. I was talking to Rommel, he's on here earlier. He has an Excel spreadsheet, okay? I will tell you this. This is what I use. I use a very simple, book like this. Can you all see this? Theo, Jimmy, give me a thumb up if you can see this. Can you all see this? Okay, okay, good. So I just write names like this. As you guys can see, I've got names on here and then 3 or 4 spaces. Guys, I've been in this 5 years and I'm still adding new names to my database. Students and stuff that I've had, and clients and people that just came back to my memory. There's a lot of ways for you to never run out of people to share with. So use some of these. Use, some of my dad's friends that have been saying stuff to me. Use the memory jogger. Okay, there's a memory jogger that came in your database, but you have to. This is the most important thing for you, because you'll keep you organized. Like yesterday, I found 3 kids I used to train on that when I trained them, lost contact with them over the years. They were on LinkedIn, found them on LinkedIn. They were not on Facebook. Not everybody's on Facebook. Theo Jimmy's not on. Are you on Facebook yet, Theo Jimmy? No. Just K, right? So, but if you think about it, some people are not, like my friends in Ohio are not. So I use Instagram to kind of keep up with them and pictures and stuff. But this is very important for you to have some form of a database. I don't care if you're a Pro 2 or Pro 1 or Pro 5 and you're not still doing this. Guys, look at this. I'm a Pro 7 and I've added so many people to my database just in the last 3 to 6 months. Don't prejudge people. I saw Suzanne jump on. We were talking about this just yesterday and the day before. You never prejudge anyone. And it's kind of funny. Her and I were talking about this yesterday, and I took some notes from what we were talking about. And she used a piece from Eric Worre's training about, it doesn't really matter what the person, if you really know who the person is. Like we were laughing, you just write the person's name down. Like, the person at the counter at Sam's Club, or I didn't even know there was such of a makeup called Bobby Brown, and so the Bobby Brown lady who sold her on Bobby Brown moisturizer. Okay, now the funny thing about that is she said once she got True Science, she realized that True Science was better than Bobby Brown moisturizer. So who do you think is the person that she's going to go back and share this with now? The person at the Bobby Brown moisturizer counter. So, this is a brand new distributor taking action of remembering these things that we learn on these things. Eric Worre has some great trainings on YouTube that you can go on there and watch, and you can learn from them. You can learn how to database, okay? And guys, look at this last one right here. Talk to someone every day, whether it's someone that because let's be realistic. If a lot of you were on the call the other night that I had with Paulette and Renee, you have to tell your mom, I'm so grateful that she did that call, and I'm going to send you guys the recording, but everybody needs to listen to that call. The power of one phone call changed an entire family, okay? So think about that. And Renee, your mic's not muted. Are you on there right now?
Yes, I am, but my kids are in the background.
Okay.
Morning.
Would you agree with me that the person that shared this with you changed your entire family?
Absolutely. She's an angel.
Exactly. And you guys heard this from Renee's mom the other night. Her mom was very sick, and if I'm not mistaken, Renee, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with your mom, right? They couldn't figure it out, right?
Right. That's correct.
And so Renee told her she was putting Protandim in her mouth, you know? And so if you talk to somebody every day, guys, remember, we haven't even reached 0.1% of the population with this information. So if you talk to somebody other day, let me tell you about LinkedIn. I have a leg growing in the UK because of LinkedIn now, okay? Through Rick Dunn. You use Facebook not to sell things. In a couple weeks, I had the privilege last night, and Theo Jimmy's on. He knows Mark. Mark trains professional network marketers how to market their businesses online, okay? And so one of the things, and I didn't get a chance to make up some slides, but I wanted to share this with you guys. One thing that he said to me was you never put anything about LifeVantage on your timeline. We want to create curiosity for people. So if you're doing these things, make some changes. You know, you can make videos like I know Renee and her mom have a Saturday meeting. You know, you can make videos of that. You don't have to use the word LifeVantage, okay? You want to create curiosity, because let me tell you the difference between our products and our company and all these like Rodan and Fields and Narium and It Works. Look at those people's Facebook pages. They have to sell those things. They're not stuff that people want. You know, I was talking to a doctor here, local doctor here, the other day at lunch, and he's preparing for a doctor's event. If you guys are in the Clearwater area and you're not at the doctor's event next week, you should be ashamed, because this we had 200 people the last time. You should bring people with you. You should pack people in your car. I'm going to hopefully broadcast it live on Facebook Live, so some of you guys can hear it and see it. I'm going to set up, I'm hoping to set up a camera and some other things. I'm working on it this week. But talking to somebody every single day, because one person can change a whole family. And that's why we have this. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about how you tell your story, okay? This is probably the most important thing that you will learn as you go through LifeVantage. And I'm going to use an example. She's not on today. I talked to her. She said it was okay. I met a young girl last week in Atlanta, Georgia, okay? Been in LifeVantage for a while now. Never, just went through some traumatic things in her life. You know, some people told her no, but then she had some miraculous results after two years on the products, and so did her family. So she created a story. She lost her leg at 2 years old, okay? She had started to work in prosthesis, and she realized she wasn't making any money. She went back to school to get another degree. Now she's doing very well financially, but this is what she told me. She said, Michael, even though I'm doing well financially, I have no retirement, and I'm 40. And I posted this the other day on Facebook. Think about how you create your story. You know, You may be doing this for your children. You know, we all know this, that a lot of our children are not going to do as good financially as a lot of us did. And some of us can do good financially and not have retirement. And we obviously know, besides giving people their life back with their health, you know, I see Theo Jimmy on here, and I saw Kay last night at church, and she just looks incredible. Like, just in a month or so of taking the products, I mean, struggling with Crohn's disease and fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, and she just looked amazing last night. Like, Lisa and I talked about it the whole drive home. You know, these are things that build up a story. And you guys, if you're not doing this and you're not telling your story, you're missing why you're doing this, okay? What do you like about, what you didn't like about? Most important step so that they feel your pain. You know, my story, I made a lot of money, very successful, but getting up at 4:30 in the morning and going to the gym and trading time for dollars, and then realizing that my savings was not that great. And I'm not a big spender. I live in a condominium. You know, I'm not a big spender. Now, do I like sports? Yes, I do like sports. I like golf, you know, but when I found LifeVantage, all of you have been blessed to have found this early, but that's going to change. So your solution is LifeVantage and network marketing. And I was sharing this with a couple people yesterday. The three most important things that people look at you after they can relate to your story is that, number one, you believe in the products. Number two, you believe in network marketing. And number three, that people believe in you. And you telling your story is where people believe in you, okay? And talk about why you're excited. If you're not excited about LifeVantage, then pinch yourself, okay? Forbes magazine article, okay? You know, I put this on one of my slides the other day during one of my presentations. And guys, any of my slides that you want, all you have to do is ask me. I'll give them all to you. You can use them. You can have them. That stuff does not bother me at all. This is what this is for. Forbes magazine. I mean, guys, think about this. Why are you excited? You should be telling these things. You know, the Huffington Post article on 5 basic things to make yourself live longer. You know, simple things. Drink more water, exercise, eat healthy, get more sleep, and take Protandim. I mean, this is stuff that you guys need to know, that, you know, it doesn't matter what a person says. You know, I told Suzanne I was talking to her business partner, Dr. Khan, the other day, and he just basically said, you know, I asked him, now that he wasn't seeing patients, what, you know, how would he describe himself? He said that he was a health, wellness, medical entrepreneur. And what I've read about him is just amazing. I know why Suzanne likes to work with him. But just those type of people are the people that are attracting. Whether somebody says no now, and I got to turn some lights on. Hold on one second, guys. It got really dark here. We've had some bad weather. So I needed to turn some lights on there. So, but, you know, these type of people are, whether somebody tells you no now, it really doesn't matter anymore, because what you have in your hand is very special. So your background, you know, 20 some years in the fitness industry, you know, graduate, numerous degrees. So you just begin to tell your story. And I'm going to go back to Lisa Myers, the girl who now found out that, you know, she just doesn't have a retirement. Okay. Numerous schooling. My wife now is capped out at the hospital. She can make no more money. You know, I posted a picture the other day on Facebook of, and I'm looking it up so I can show you guys. I wanted to put it in the slide today, but I just didn't get to doing it. I posted, and I know you guys will be able to see this because I did this the other night on my team call. This is a shot of Sandra Kroll's from her accountant. She, very successful nurse practitioner. You guys know what those type of people make, okay? And at full retirement at 65, she would have $2,586 in her retirement, plus, like, dude, Jimmy, I'm talking about, plus Social Security, which is maybe $1,200 or $1,400. So she would have to work till she was 65, would be 15 more years, and try to live off of half of what she made working as a doctor. And I can tell you, I looked up the numbers. 77%, so 23% of people have adequate retirement. So that means 7 out of 10 people, almost 8 out of 10 people that you run into have minimal to no retirement, or they're going to have to live off half of what they had. So think about that when you're sharing this information with people. And then to finish up this section, when I was talking to Lisa Myers up in Georgia, I said, when do you have an appointment? She said, she actually did this. She looked at her watch and she said, I'm leaving here and going to meet with the guy at 4:00. I said, tell him your story and put him on a 3-way phone call. And she did, and the guy signed up. Very simple process. Telling your story. It may be a different situation. It may be with somebody you haven't seen in a long time. Like I said to this young kid that I trained back, I said this to him yesterday. I said, look, you know my background, and I walked him down through this, and I said, here's why I'm excited. So, and then, an invite, be in a hurry. I said, hey, look, I know you're busy. I know, I'm busy. What's your schedule like on Saturday? And I complimented it. And I told him, I said, look, Travis, you've impressed me from day one. You're a father, and I said to him, if I would share some information with you, would you take a look at it? When is best for you? Okay. Today or tomorrow? You have to stay in control. Okay. I'm going to come back to this, but I wanted to show you guys some invites that I heard from Tyler Daniels the other night and Mark Harris. Okay. These are 2 great invites. Okay. Let me see. Renee, do you still have are you still there? I wanted to use you if you are. I know your kids.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So I'm gonna role play with you just a little bit. Okay. So you and I have been friends for a long time. If I knew something that would change, if you knew something that would change my life, would you tell me about it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know why this came out like this. I did bad English. I don't know what that. Sometimes it changes it. So I'll change this when we get done here in a little bit, and so you guys can kind of. Okay, it's supposed to say well. I realize that now. Forgive me. Okay, well, I got something that'll change yours. When do you have some time? Today or tomorrow? And then you just ask her, and then she says, when do you have some time? Today or tomorrow? And so you stay in control of that conversation. So, and you can go right in from that. If I would share some information with you, Renee, would you take a look at it? Okay. And so say yes. Okay. So Renee, when would be good for you? Today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay. What time?
Anytime after 3.
Okay. How about 3:15 tomorrow? I'll call you. Make sure you're in front of your computers because I'm going to share this information with you. I want you to watch something. So I'll call you tomorrow at 3:00. Okay. Have a good day. Good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So very simple. Okay. Who was in control of that conversation? I was. Soon as you let the other person, and Renee and I've talked about this numerous times, soon as you let that other person take control of the phone call, it goes into, well, what is it? Okay. And then you have to go into. Now, here's another one that Brandon Cunningham uses this one all the time. He said he'll follow these steps, and he'll say, hey, I came across some information on a publicly held company that you need to know about. When do you have some time to listen, today or tomorrow? Okay, so think about that. What am I saying when I say that? Well, since you're on there, Renee, if I told you that I came across some information with a publicly held company that nobody knew about, would you be interested? Of course, right?
Yes.
Because those are things that, those are things that people are interested in. You know, a lot of people are interested in politics nowadays, and I'm not. So we talk about this. I was laughing with somebody yesterday. They spent their whole morning interested in politics. And me, politics is just not my thing. But how about the stock market? How about looking and making money? Like when I look at how much money we made off of the LifeVantage stock since the beginning of the year, I'm completely amazed. So that excites me to share with somebody and say, look, if I would share some information with you, would you take a look at it? And a lot of people, you know, I'll be honest with you. Here's what happens to 90% of people. I did this week. I went back through and looked at some of my distributors' Facebook pages, 600, 1,200, 1,000. And I've done 0 three-way phone calls with them. Okay, 0. All right. So it's the old saying of getting ready to get ready. Okay. So the first step that you have to do is you have to make an invite. Okay. It may take you a couple times to figure that out, but you have to make the invite. A lot of you on this webinar right now have boatloads full of people on your Facebook page and boatloads full of people on your LinkedIn page that you have not shared with us. You know, George and I were talking about this yesterday. You know, 90% of people are getting ready to get ready. So you have to learn to simply make the and guys, I don't care if you don't learn anything else besides telling your story. I said this to a couple new distributors yesterday. You have to teach your new people this right here, CTE. And look at what's over here on the side, 2 per day, okay? Look, all of us are busy, all right? All of us are busy, right? But I don't let people use that as an excuse, because when I started this business, I was working I was seeing 55 patients a week, okay? Suzanne, could you imagine if you were seeing 55 patients a week? Do you think you'd be busy? Of course you'd be busy. Could you make an excuse that you didn't have any time? Probably. But do you choose to do that? No. I said to myself, look, my professors told me that this was going to take 7 to 10 years for people to understand. So I'm committed to understanding that I'm going to be a part of educating people. And you and I have talked about this before. You know, even like I know there's a bunch of people from Canada. Canada's rules are different than ours. You know, certain things have changed, right? Things that you could make a lot of money at before have been changed. Things have been taken away. It's changed people's lives, okay? And that's happening in the United States too. Guys, look, think about this. They are putting kiosks in McDonald's, okay? They're going to make a trucking rail like you guys see on the inside in Atlanta where compact cars and economy cars drive. They're going to make a rail for trucking industry, and it'll be computerized and run by a machine. So it'll completely erase the trucking industry. This stuff is happening, okay? I was saying this yesterday. I said I ran into one of my preferred customers who's been a preferred customer for 4 years, and he just said, hey, how's that going? And I said, we need to sit down and talk about it. And he said, okay. I said, how's Walgreens? Guys, this is happening all the time. He said, they terminated my position. After 27 years, your position at what you're doing is never promised tomorrow. You're never promised tomorrow. Relationships change, people change, but being involved in something like this for the rest of your life can change a lot of people's lives as well as yours. But you have to teach this. You know, the 8 steps to the invite, which you guys saw earlier, okay? And then once you get the person to say yes, then you go on to step 2, which is the tool, okay? I haven't changed this yet. You guys, most of you guys that are on there, and I'm going to change it today, actually. I don't use Share It 210 anymore, or You Should Watch It. I actually use there's a clip that has the ABC News report, the 4-minute, and our new product video. Now, I will say this, okay? This young gentleman that I'm talking to later today, our new What is Nutrigenomics video, where it shows real people, some people that might relate to. You know, people that are trading time for dollars or have lost their job, like my friend who lost his job. That video related to him, okay? So you have different tools. Let's take Brandon, for instance, okay? His cousin, he didn't want to watch the video, okay? So his cousin sent, now you guys should be doing this to your prospects, okay? She wouldn't watch the video, so finally she sent him a Prosper magazine, okay? We're going to be getting new Prosper magazines, I believe, in Orlando. Not positive, but pretty sure, if not, at convention. And so Brandon's reading a Prosper magazine and reading about Blue and Colt Elam. He gets up, goes in the other room, and says, we need to watch the video, okay? So think about tools that you can use that relate to people. We were talking about, you know, different people that you meet, whether it's the girl at the you know, I'm looking at all these credit cards people send me for Macy's and Kohl's and, you know, these type of things. You're going to meet people at these places. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the people at Kohl's and Macy's make enough money to provide for their families? Most of them? No. Because when you ask them that, they tell you that. Like, you know, the bartender that works hard, okay? Think about some type of tool that will relate to them, okay? This is a personal development process. When you look at this information, okay, you have to learn from the person. So, and then you always want to schedule a follow-up. And I'm going to talk about the follow-up here in a minute. Let's talk about 3-way phone calls. 90% of you and your team do not know how to do 3-way phone calls. You know why? Because they don't do them. That's it, okay? This is a great example of how you do a 3-way phone call, okay? When I call the prospect back, okay, depending on who it is, like I'm looking at a girl I used to train. I've already figured out someone, and I write this in my book, who I'm going to use to as a 3-way phone call. When I call the prospect back, I'm going to use my friend George, because I can see him right there with his sunglasses on, driving. Okay, so I'm going to say, and I know who I would use for George. So I would say, hey, Dr. Chad, this is my friend George. He is an amazing guy. He works his butt off. He takes care of his family. So you're edifying the person that you're sharing the information with. So rule number 1, always edify the person that you're sharing with. Just like whether it's an introduction call or a third-party call, you want the person to feel like they're important. You know, makes great money, tired of working for somebody else. I introduced this to him 4 years ago, kept saying he was going to get involved, and now he's excited and ready to learn more. So, and then you introduce the person that is going to be your third-party validation. Hey, this is Dr. Chad Luxembourg. He's an eye surgeon. Long story short, many, many years ago, I poked myself in the eye. He saved my life. He saved my eye. And now I'm in business with him. He's a doctor who is not getting paid the way he used to get paid. And our products have helped so many people that now he's joined us in the business and he's a Pro 5 in the company. And then you mute your phone, okay? You never, ever, ever interrupt somebody when they're doing a three-way phone call. Now, here's the purpose of the three-way phone call: to get the person to the next step, okay? And I'm going to talk about this in follow-up. So let's talk about that. Let's do this. So this is Eric Worre's GoPro Chapter 7. I have a recording on this. And guys, I put this down here with Brandon and Lynette down at the bottom right-hand corner. If you have not listened to Eric's interview with Brandon and Lynette, shame on you. Go listen to it, all right? It's phenomenal, all right? All of my new personal enrollments have listened to it. It's great. If you haven't, listen to it. And so here's what I'm going to talk about. 4 concepts to the follow-up, 2 reasons for objections, and educating and understanding, okay? 4 concepts. Guys, this is always important. Always do what you say you will do. Write it down and call the person when you say. When you set up that invite and you put in this thing, you can, right here, call Mark on Tuesday, okay? And who I'm sharing with him, okay? Set an alarm on your phone. Call Tammy on Tuesday, okay? You're either early or you're late. I'm going to use this story from the book. Eric said that when he first got started in the industry, he was working for his dad. And his dad had a very prominent customer. The guy's name was Mr. Chuck, okay? Well, Chuck had an appointment with Eric's dad at 10 a.m. in the morning. And Eric got there early, 9:30, waiting for his dad. Mr. Chuck got there at 9:45. And at 10 o'clock, he got up. Eric's dad was not there. And he said, gave Eric a card and said, tell your dad to call me when he can be on time. And he said, no, I just talked to my dad. He'll be here. He said, no, I'll reschedule and your dad can call me. My time is valuable. People's time is valuable. I was in an industry of training people that if you were, hey, Gilberto, if you were not on time, okay, just mute your mic, brother. When you were on, if you were not on time, you didn't have a business. All right. And George knows that. He's smiling right now. If he shows up to somebody's house 15, 20, 30 minutes late, it's an absolute disaster. It goes downhill. Okay. And Suzanne's in the very similar business with me, where we meet with people one-on-one sometimes and sometimes in groups. Can you imagine if we're 15 or 20 minutes late? Do we have a job later on? Probably no. Okay. So think about this. And guys, in this context of this, I'm going to teach you a lot of stuff in just a short period of time. But guys, this is a business. It's not a hobby. If you treat this like a hobby, it will become a hobby. And you will get a hobby's return on it. If you treat it like a business, it will become a business. Okay? So, number 2, the 4 concepts. The second one, how many people, let me see a show of hands, okay? How many people think that the purpose of an exposure is to sign the person up? Anybody? Okay, right? To sign the person up, right? George is smiling because that's what Josh wants him to do every time he goes into somebody's house. Sign them up, right? Well, Eric said this. Purpose of is to get the person to the next step. After the video, you never say this. Now, I'm going to tell you, this sounds natural. We don't. And we laugh about this. I'm just laughing because Suzanne and I had these conversations the last couple of days about how natural it is to say, ask them, we want their opinion, but we really don't want their opinion. We don't need to know what they think, right? Do we really need to know what they think? No, we don't. But it's natural to say, hey, George, what'd you think? I'm going to give you an example of what happened with my chiropractor. I had lunch with him yesterday, and we talked about this. But what's funny is this guy is finally going to join the business 5 years later. So we're on a three-way phone call. John calls him back. I'm sitting across the table from him, and Dr. Bittaker, he has his own radio and TV show. He says to John says to him, hey, Doc, what'd you think? And literally for the next 15 minutes, Dr. Bittaker told John what he thought. And it wasn't good. It was not good. And I watched, you guys can see me, I watched John swamp down in his seat like this. And I finally went like this. I said, hang up the phone. Okay? Hang up the phone. Because it was like a punching match. He was getting just beat up, And so I finally said, just hang up the phone. And so he did. All right? And so educate, inform is the purpose, not just to sign up the person. After you set a time to follow up, you call them back and say, and let's just say this, okay? So you call them back, and you ask them, had you had time to look at the information I gave you? Okay? If they say no, just remember, you're I know you guys, it's easy to do this, but don't jump down their throat. Why didn't you look at the information? It's common. People do it all the time. Don't do that, okay? Ask them, when can you take a look at it? Guys, this is stuff that I've been taught, that I've been pouring into people, that is changing their businesses. So pay attention to this. When you look at it, set up a time to call them back, okay? Never, listen to this. Never finish one exposure without setting up the next. I'm sorry if you guys hear, we are having torrential downpours again. So I'm sorry if you guys hear the rain outside. It's been really bad here. No? Okay, good. Never finish one exposure without setting up the next. You are in control. If you fail to do this, it is over. If you don't set up the next follow-up, that presentation is over 90% of the time, okay? It takes, and then step number 3, it takes 5 to 12 touches, okay? The importance of the follow-up, look at this. Guys, this blows me away. Only 45% of you will follow up one time and 2% will join. 28% of you will follow up twice and 3% will join. And then 12% of you will follow up 3 times, 5% will join. 10% of you will follow up 4 times and 10% will join. And then 5% will follow up 5 to 12. You guys know I was like a 15 touch person, okay? Daniel called me every week. But you know what he did? You know why I'm here? How many of you on this webinar right here now would not be on this call had I said no? A lot of you. Exactly. A lot of you. George, you know, Tammy, you, a lot of people, okay? A lot of people. We still wouldn't have heard about this, okay? Like even Dr. Kahn said, I can't believe I haven't heard about this. I read all the peer-reviewed studies. He said, I can't believe that this has happened with a non-drug and I haven't heard about it, I mean, blows my mind. And this is a guy who's been in the medical field probably 20 plus years, right, Suzanne? Probably 20 plus, 25 plus years. So, I mean, think about it. Only 80% of people will follow up. I've been following up with George for 4.5 years. Thank God, So here's the last one, number 4. Keep the exposures condensed. Remember the CTE. Remember, connect, tool, event. Do it in a week to 7 to 10 days. That's your first part of your exposures. So you should try to get your follow-up in 7 to 10 days. And I can just tell you this. I have a lady, Linda, in Ohio. Well, I did a phone call with the guy about 2 weeks ago. She's kept it in that 10 to 14 day range. And then she did another one to this week. So she's going to get 2 distributors this coming week because she continued to follow up and kept it condensed and didn't drag it out. Now, we know that sometimes it'll go longer than that. It'll go, I can tell you this. My friend is signing up on Monday. He's been on the product for 4 years. Guys, this is a lifetime journey. People's lives change. That you can know this, that Gilberto's on. I can tell you this, that there is people that he has exposed this to 2 years ago that will eventually join this company, okay? So objections and concerns. People do this to sound intelligent, okay? Somebody that tells you, like Dr. Huey is signing up a very important person. And Suzanne Uniteam, I got to remind you about this. Dr. Huey is signing up a person in Toronto that I need to connect with Dr. Khan, okay? He's a very prominent physician there in Canada. I'm doing the call with him on Tuesday, so I'll fill you guys in more on that. But these are the type of people that he said, I started talking about the studies. Well, John educated him about the studies, and he was like, wow. He goes, how do I do this? I need to get started. They only do this because they want to sound intelligent. How you react is crucial. If you act defensive, you will create doubt. Now, we all know, I'm just going to say it, pro tandem doesn't fix stupid. We are going to come in contact with some not very smart people, okay? But your goal as a professional is to educate people, okay? Listen to this. If you focus on those 4 concepts, the 2 reasons for objections will be the same the entire time you're involved in this opportunity. And here they are. Number 1, here's what people think, all right? And if you guys have heard me do a presentation, here's 2 things that I tell people to think about, and then I'll tell you about these 2. Number 1, is it real? And number 2, can I do it? Okay? So think about this. Here's 2 objections that you will constantly get while you're sharing this, people. People aren't sure they can be successful. They're not sure they can do it. And it starts with fear because most people don't want to change. You guys know what fear is? False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Can you do this? Yes, you can. And you don't have to be a doctor or a salesman. Jason Domingo used to say this years ago, I'll take 100 school teachers over 1 doctor any day. All right? Why? Because what do? They teach, right? So we need to be students, all right? And then here's the number 2 thing. I talked about this with George yesterday. People's limited belief in network marketing. George's family has been in network marketing for 30 years, all right? He gets it. More than that, he says. So think about it. 40 years, back to Amway days, okay? So think about it. George has never had limited belief in network marketing, all right? It was belief, and he knows I can say this about him because we're friends. It was limited belief in himself, all right? Limited belief in himself. And I'm going to unmute him just so he can say, George, am I correct about that?
That's 100% accurate.
Okay, thank you. Just so you guys know, you got to make sure that they know that because, we talk about these things and they tell you can do it, but I like to sometimes for you guys to hear from them. And then look about this. This is your first major goal, Pro 3. I'm not going to go on this very long. I talked about this the other night. How much does it take to make our money back? Getting 3 people involved, right? Okay. Once we get 3 people, then we need to teach them to get 3 and then teach those people to get 3 and you make Pro 3. We had several people that made Pro 3 this month in their first month in the business. First month. Okay. So how many, and congratulations to Tammy and Suzanne for making Pro 3 this month. I see them on here. And Suzanne was somebody that made Pro 3 in her first month in the business. And her next, she's already moved on to her next goal of Pro 4 this month. Okay? And so you have to set goals. Guys, look at this. When you reach Pro 3, look at how long you'll stay in this company. Do we want people that are just going to stay in for 90 days or 9 months or 18 months? Would you say that we want people that are going to stay in for 64 months or more? That's the average, okay? So, and I showed you guys this, and Suzanne, I made it a little bit better so you could, because I know a lot of people couldn't understand it so well. So you obviously get 3 back, you get your 3, and you get your return on your investment. Because if you sign up 3 platinum packs, you get 500, 500, and 500, okay? So you basically have got a return on your investment, right? So you teach those 3 to get 3 with 200 PV. 200 PV is 200 personal volume, whether it's from your customers or from your purchases. Let's be realistic. We have enough products that you can get 200 PV, okay? And, you know, my mom uses $160 worth of the products. And before I go on, I just want to touch base with you guys on this. I want you guys to hear this from me. I spoke to my mom this week. I want you guys to just know what you have in your hands. My mom, guys, your parents are going to be the hardest people to get to listen to you, right? We already know that. I see a lot of people shaking their heads, especially your sisters and brothers, right? So when you think about this, my mom took 4 years to start using the products. Now she uses Nerve 1, Nerve 2, she just bought like $200 worth of Axio because she's feeding it to her husband, you know, and she lost 30 pounds on physique, okay? And then she decided to go off of all the products for 2 weeks, okay? And I can pull my hair out now, but it was good that she did that. Now listen to this. She didn't change her eating habits, all right? And she gained 8 pounds in 2 weeks, okay? And we've talked about this. That doesn't happen with normal products. It just doesn't happen. I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I've trained thousands of people. Doesn't happen. She goes back on everything. Well, on top of all that, all of her joints and headaches and vision was blurry again, all this stuff. 2 weeks back on all the products, all the weight back off, feeling better, understanding it. Don't do that. Don't do what my mom did, okay? Just teach people about these products. They work. And there's nothing else that we can find in the industry that works like this does. So here's how you do this. You go out and you teach them to get 3. And look at this. Teach 3 to get 3 to get 3. It goes 600, 1,800, and 5,400. And you get all 3 of those. So it adds up to $7,800, and you're a Pro 3, okay? And you get, with this here, you make $1,500 just off of the return on your investment. And then you go out and do this. You can literally, if you do this in your first month, you can literally make between $5,000 and $7,000, okay? If you teach proper behavior, okay? Now, some people are doing more than this. So I'm going to touch base on core habits real fast, okay? And then I'm going to have to switch slides here in the middle. But guys, this is a leader in LifeVantage. If you want to be a leader in LifeVantage, you will follow these 7 steps. You will use all the products. Now, I know we have people in other countries on that can't. There's just we have to go to a certain site to use more products, but do that, okay? Use more products. We'll eventually get all these products in Canada and other places, the UK. Just use the products, okay? They work. I mean, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm 65 years old. No, I'm just kidding. I don't feel my age, but you know, I'm 48. So, but 100% product use, okay? Become a product of the product. Replace your products that you're using now, which I just told you I did, Lisa and I did. And look at this, display products in your home. You don't have to be, it may not be something that you've done before, but guess what? Things change, all right? When people, you can look in my house, we have product everywhere in the house. We have skincare in the bathroom, okay? Do you think when someone goes in your bathroom and they see your skincare, they're not gonna ask you about it? Of course they are, okay? I always make my Axio in front of people, okay, when I'm at the gym. A funny story, the other day, one of my distributors was at the gym and I didn't know it, and I was working out right behind her, and she was waiting for class. I didn't know she was there, and she saw my Axio packages in the trash can. And I heard her say, "Who in here is using Axio?" Like really loud. And I heard her, and I said, "Me." And she said, "Mike, I knew it was you." But see, you do these things in front of people so that they know, and they're going to ask you, okay? And then you're in a hurry. Hey, look, I'm in a hurry, but I'll get back to you. When can we sit down and talk about this, right? Yes, and so that's what you have to do. Am I not showing any slides? Can you guys not see the slides? You can see them? Okay, somebody asked me and said I wasn't. Maybe it's somebody who's on their iPad. If you're on your iPad or your iPhone, you might not be able to see the slides. George, you can see them too, right? Wait a minute, let me just unmute. So, Suzanne, you guys can see them, right? Wait a minute, George, hold on.
Mike, I'm on my iPhone. I can see it.
Oh, okay. Somebody said that they couldn't see it. George, you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So 15 presentations a month. So let's break this down time-wise. Okay? 15 Hey, Zabra. I just saw you come on there. How you doing? 15 presentations a month is very simple for you to do. Okay? No matter how busy you are, this is 30 minutes. Write this down. 30 minutes every other day minimum. Okay? Work closely with your sponsor in the beginning, your upline. Okay? Personalize your goals. Guys, I got a new planner that I'm starting to use that allows me, and I will share this with you, allows me to set goals for the following day, and I cross them off as I go until I go to bed. Okay? If you do this, you will be successful. The more presentations you watch or give, the better you'll be. Now, you guys may not like this, but I'm telling you what you can do to be successful. Okay? If you allow yourself to go to presentations and listen to presentations, webinars, meetings, just because you don't have a guest doesn't mean you don't go to meetings. Okay? Go to meetings even if you don't have a guest. Okay? Go to meetings if you don't have a guest. All right? And so think about that. Okay? That's the way you learn. You know, we always have this saying, people who are in front of the room and are at meetings are the ones who make the most money. A presentation is any time you personally expose someone new to the opportunity using LifeVantage tools. Jim Rome says the repetition is the master skill. So the next step on being a leader, increase your PV every single month. And you try to do it on the 5th of every month. And that means you're adding new products or you're signing up new people on the product, okay? Share what products you're excited about. Like I did this with somebody this week. We drew a line and we put people that, and you don't want to do this too much, but you will have certain people that you want to talk about the products if that's what you're excited about. But don't count people out for the business. Okay, I did that in the beginning, but you will have people like I have a neighbor who has rheumatoid and she just asked me yesterday, will you please sit down with me next week? And so I'm going to do that, you know, but I'm still going to talk to her about the business. I'm going to talk to her about the product because, guys, we found out that about 40% of people that use the products eventually upgrade to the business. And guess what? We are the first company in the history when you come on, you guys can, yeah. Okay. You just mute your line. I got it. Okay. So when you think about this, look this up for yourself. Okay. We are the first company in the history of this industry after 7 years that 78% of our revenue comes from people who just use our products. Is that crazy or what? So talk about the products that you're excited about and tell people that. Tell people what I just told you. Daily exposure is part of your life. Okay? Who is a prospect? Okay? Everyone's a prospect unless they're just somebody you don't want to work with. Okay? Read 15 minutes daily recommended books. Okay? Going to tell you guys this. I just finished this book called Magnetic Sponsoring by Mike Dillard. It's phenomenal. Couple books, if you haven't read, you need to read. Your First Year in Network Marketing, okay? And Go Pro with Eric Worre, okay? Those are definitely books that you need to read. I like to listen to books. I've downloaded some onto my iPhone, and I can listen to them while I'm driving in the car, okay? And that's important, okay? LifeVantage Pro Audio Series. If you don't have a copy of the Proven Plan, order some copies for people that you will sign up. I have 10 copies, okay? You can go to lifevantagetools.com, okay? You can go to theprovenplan.com. We have audio books that you can listen to, but it's very important that you do this, okay? So I'm trying to see what I got on here. All right, let me see. I think I have to switch. Oh, somebody's got some feedback. I think the two feeds me. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm just switching some decks here. Just give me 1 minute. All right. Okay, I'm switching. Okay. Okay. Am I back up? Hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, can y'all see my attend all events? Yes? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next one is attend all events recommended by your upline, okay? There is an escalating series of events and calls that will help distributors gain better understanding. And I just saw Paulette come on, and I said thank you again earlier for your call the other night. Phenomenal call, phenomenal, okay? Your goal is to encourage as many of your team members as possible to advance up the ladder. I'm just going to say this because there's a lot of you on the phone, okay? I have never missed an event since I've been involved in LifeVantage, okay? I'm even, you know, a LifeVantage Academy is coming up. I know people in Canada don't have one. It's in Vancouver. Toronto, our goal is to get one in the next year, okay? Which we will, it's happening. It will happen, okay? But Tammy and Suzanne are going to drive down to Michigan to go to LifeVantage Academy because they're committed. Paulette takes bus full of people in her Red Pig van places all around because her and her husband own a restaurant and they have vans and they pack vans full of these people and they take people to these events. So being a team player, duplication and edification. Okay, I'm going to go through these real quick. You guys know that if a pan has a kink in it, it brings out a different result, okay? Think about this. And I know there's people on here that have been, their businesses have been affected by this, okay? New people and old people. 50% of what we do correctly duplicates. 100% of what we do ineffectively duplicates, okay? The question is not, does it work? The important question is, can it be duplicated? Do nothing in your business that's not duplicated. I tell you this, the reason I'm grateful that we're underneath the Cunninghams because things don't change. They're very consistent. They're very professional. That they keep everything in a mode. And I'll just be honest. I would say this in front of the Pro 10s if I had to. I see different stuff all the time, and I'm glad that we are underneath the Cunninghams. Okay. Ask yourself, what is it I'm doing right, and what I would like to do to duplicate to my team. Okay. This is good. We do a lot of this working. I'm going to skip through some of this. Find a mentor. Okay. A lot of us, you know, I've adopted some people in this business, Renee and Paulette. I go to Ohio. They're not even on my team, but I've kind of adopted them and they've adopted me. You know, and then we have adopted, like for instance, Brandon Cunningham is going to Ohio. He told me it's because of me, but it's because of my leaders that I've developed there. And he's excited to meet people that aren't even on our team that are tying into what we're doing, because what we're doing is working, and it's making people's businesses grow. So determine what's effectively working and repeat it. Okay. So event cycle. All right, let's go over this a little bit. Okay. If you're not having home meetings or office meetings, you need to start doing that, especially with people that you enroll, whether it's just around the table. Okay, I'm doing these meetings all the time now where we just go to people's house. They invite 2 to 3 people over, and we repeat it for the first 3-4 weeks they're involved. If they want to do it more after that, you do it more after that. One-on-ones. I was just in Georgia. Glenn and Janice Hayes put me in front of a lot of people, okay? A lot of people. Like, for instance, and I'll use this. This is the people that are on this call today show me how serious they are about this business. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Because I had 40, this thing only holds 50 people. I had 40 some people tell me that they were going to be on, and I have 12 people on, okay? So I'm not going to hold it back from people anymore. I'm going to let anybody that wants to come on. I had to, and so, you know, it goes back to doing what you say you're going to do. And so regional meetings, what I said, the main purpose is to show people that LifeVantage works. Schedule as close to the last day of the month as possible. We're having, if you guys are in an area, okay, that's new, like Toronto is basically, at the end of the month, you're going to have a meeting, okay? And you're going to schedule it, you know, a couple days prior. We do it in Tampa. We do it in Clearwater. We're having one, we're having one at the end of this month in Clearwater. My friend Bob Trigley is coming down from Jacksonville to do the meeting, okay? So you, and whether you're new or old, if you've been in more than 3 weeks, it's time for you to start presenting, okay? And I know people are probably freaking out on this thing right now because they're new, but it's okay, all right? Recognize who your leaders are and follow them, okay? All right? So you have, look, we only have 25 cities that have these lead school or LifeVantage academies because we're a baby company, okay? Consider this continuing education. Lisa and I sign up. And I know some of you are going to just cringe at this, but when the new schedule comes out at the beginning of next year, at the end of this year for all the events for next year, I schedule my schedule around the events. Okay? This is a business. It's not a hobby. If you want a hobby's return, you treat it like a hobby. Okay? You on here today are 10%ers. Okay? You're the 10%ers that get this and will do the things it needs. And if you can teach what I'm teaching you today to other people, you will absolutely be successful. Okay? You will absolutely be successful. So I'm going to play a little short video that I want you guys to see because I want you guys to think about this. And I want you to think about how important these events are. And I know some of you have not seen this, and I want you guys to see it.
Well, hello, LifeVantage community. My name is Eric Worre, author of GoPro, and I'm excited to be joining you at the Elite Academy event in Orlando, October 6th through the 8th. I'm going to be doing a special all-day training on October 6th, and on the 7th and 8th, you're going to get amazing information from your company, from your leaders, from your organizational team leaders, from the corporate leaders, from product announcements and everything else. Great things are going to happen during that weekend, but I want to talk to you specifically about what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be giving you some specific strategy on how you can conquer the inner game of network marketing success, how you can overcome your fears and doubts and frustrations inside of this business, how you can get your mindset into thinking more like an entrepreneur, thinking like a champion, thinking like a person who can fulfill the dreams that you have in your life. Because many of us know what to do, but we have a hard time getting ourselves to do it. We call ourselves lazy. We say we procrastinate, but that's not it. There's some breakthrough work that needs to be done in order to be able to help you really to explore and enjoy the benefits of network marketing. So we're going to be spending the day talking about that and so much more. I can't wait to be able to bring that information to you. If you have not registered for this event yet, do yourself a favor, get yourself registered, promote it to your team. The people who have the most people attending this event are going to win. The company's invested in you, in growing. That's why they're bringing people like me and others into this event to be able to help you experience higher levels of success than you've ever had before. But all of that investment and all that help doesn't matter unless you take a step. You take a small little step, they'll take big steps. You're taking a big step your way, they're investing lots of money. Invest a little time, invest a little money. Get to Orlando and attend Elite Academy. You're going to be happy that you did. I hope to see you there. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, that's freaking awesome. Just saying. Okay, you guys. All right. So would you guys say that that's pretty exciting? Okay, from what you know. Okay. And if you haven't registered and you've got people that just enrolled on your team, if they enrolled in a platinum pack, they got 2 tickets to Orlando and 2 tickets to Eric Worre. If they enrolled in a Vantage pack, they have 1 each of those. So to me, it's never an option not to attend an event. You know, I'm always looking forward to the next one. I've already looked at my information for convention. Convention is awesome. It's in one of my it's in Salt Lake City. It's one of my favorite places. You get to go snowmobiling. You get to do some awesome things. Guys, this one's all in the same campus. In Nashville, we had it all in the same campus at the convention center there, and now we're having it at the Coronado Springs Resort and Convention Center. So you guys know where it is. You know the logistics of it. And so, and look, I have people that just enrolled last month that are running for this Maya Riviera Cancun getaway trip. Okay, I see people shaking their heads. I know that they're going after this. And so I'm just going to unmute you for 1 second. I'm just going to ask you something. So Suzanne, would you say that this is doable even if you just enrolled in the last 30 to 60 days?
Absolutely. I'm already a quarter of the way there in the last week. So
See that, guys? So this is very doable. They've doubled the points this month. Okay, they've doubled the points for customers. If you enroll a platinum pack, you get 500 points. Okay, so I know I'm not missing the trip. I'm already pretty well 3/4 of the way there, and I plan to enroll 4 to 5 people this month. So these are things that you want to put on your goal board. Okay, you can make these. Okay, these are trips that you can accomplish. Okay, and they should motivate you. Okay, they have made this doable for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go over just a couple personal development things, and then I'm going to finish, okay? And then I'm going to open up the mic in case people have some questions that they might have come up with. But here's a group of about 6 books that have really been influential to me in the 5 years that I've been involved in this. Your first year in network marketing, as I told you guys before, Go Pro with Eric Worre. One of my favorite books is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay, I don't have it on here, but it's one of my favorites, and you should read it if you haven't. Okay, The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, phenomenal, and David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell, 2 great books. And The Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't read that, read it. And then, of course, Hung by Your Tongue by Francis Martin. A study of the words of your mouth, presenting in a serious, simplistic word of truth. What you say is what you get. And we can talk too much, all right? We all can talk too much. Sometimes less is better. Okay, I love this little thing right here. I've condensed this training into about an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm going to let some questions. But look at this. I will help you build your business. Guys, get that? I will help you build your business. No one will build your business for you. Okay? No one. Okay? You know, I've had people that have been involved for 5 years, and I say this all the time. You know, I got contacted by a pastor that's 4 levels up from me day before yesterday. I passed him. Okay. He's getting a big check from all of us from matching bonus. He said, I need to restart my business. I said, we'll be on this call today. He's not here. Okay. So you know, you have to make this serious. Okay. Nobody's going to build your business for you. You build your business yourself. So, and then I'm going to finish with this, and then I'll open it up for questions. Okay. The first steps to personal development starts with you. These are 5 steps that you will grow. I put this up here, no excuses. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. Okay. If something happens in your business, think about how you're going to react to it. Okay. I've been on both sides. You will go, look, because of what you have in your hands, you will go through persecution. You will go through rejection. You will go through ups and downs in your business. But look, man, guys, does it really matter in the long run? It only matters how you react to the situation. So think about this. The highest form of business mastery is taking full responsibility for things that happen to you. Okay? Whether it's good or bad, all right? You have to take full responsibility of, oh, I didn't do 15 presentations this month. Oh, I missed an event. Oh, I said I was going to call somebody and I didn't. Guess what? I'm getting closer because I do that, all right? I do that. I allow myself to do these things, and I'm learning. I'm growing. You should, I said this last night, is that the number one thing that you take away from this business is personal development, all right? You will grow as a person. You know, most of you know where I am with my faith, and this parallels it. You know, it teaches me, you know, it's funny. There's 5 steps here. My grandmother told me there was 5 steps for me growing into who God created me to be. And, you know, I don't live in fear of what other people think. I live in fear that I'm going to let God down and let others down. And I don't want to do that. And I was saying last night, you know, when you allow this to be about other people, then you're taking responsibility for your actions and what happens to you. Okay. So how you react to events in your life will determine your happiness, not the events themselves. Can you guys relate to that? Think about that. How you react to events in your life will determine your happiness, not the events themselves. We all can either react harshly or in fear or in doubt or in worry that, you know, I'm not going to be successful. But in the end, it goes back to how you react. Okay. And that goes up to my little saying up there in the corner. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. Okay. Number 3, for things to change, you have to change. Okay. Do you think Sandra Kroll looking at her retirement being half or not even really half of what she's making now, she needs to make a change? Of course. Would you say that we all need to make a change, or our current you know, Paulette said this the other night. She said, LifeVantage, her check is bigger than her retirement from her teaching days. I mean, really? Like, hello? She made a change. And we said this, you know, I sat with her and Renee in the living room a year ago, and they were both Pro 3s. Okay. Both Pro 3s. And if you know, and now look, here we are a year later, and they're both Pro 5s because they realized that if they followed the system and took the steps it took to make a change, then things would change for them. Okay. And here's a great one. Work on bringing value to people in your life. Okay. You know, you have to do this. You have to make, you know, people don't want to know about what you want to share with them. They want to know that you care about them, right? If you can get the person to believe in you, that it's about them, that you're making this about them, then you're bringing value to them, okay? You're bringing value to them, okay? And here you go. Don't wish this was easy. Wish you were better, okay? You guys, I'm going to tell you, this is not easy, okay? It's not easy. There's ups and downs. You guys have all know my story. I've lost big legs, but it's the people. It's the people, you know. If I wasn't laughing and smiling the other night watching Paulette, I would have been crying. You all know me, I cry, all right? A lot, all right? So, but the significance of that is that it's because of the lives that we are changing that makes this a significant thing for us to never quit, because you never quit on people because of the effectiveness. Like Theo Jimmy's on here, you know, he's a very successful businessman, you know, owned a bridge painting company, now runs a company and has done very well and put money away. But you know what? He said to me, I want to build something for my kids. I want something that my kids can have and my grandkids can have. Can you imagine? Justin Rose told me this story that he was with, his last company he was with is a 50-year-old company in network marketing. 50 years old, okay? That's a beautiful picture, George, behind you. You just mesmerized me, my brother. I think you must be out on the boat or something. Sorry about that. I just saw that pop up in my eyes. But and we're not having good weather. He must be down where they're having good weather. But think about that, okay? You can change a whole. Justin told me that people in this last company were passing businesses down 3 generations, okay? 3 generations. There's people who, you know, want to have a family and they're single mothers. There's mothers that, you know, don't want to have to rely on somebody else to build a family, you know. Whatever it is, you have to find out what motivates you to do this. Like I just saw George's picture there. You know, he doesn't want to work for somebody else anymore. He said to me, imagine he goes into people's homes and teaches them about water. And in Florida, we have the worst water of all 50 states, but we won't go into that. But, you know, I drink clean water because George taught me many years ago to drink clean water. Okay. And I understand it. And you hear all these different things, but I know what it means. But George said, could you imagine if I had put the effort into LifeVantage that I put into doing that? George, how many years have you been in the water industry?
Oh, over 10 for sure.
Okay, so you said that had you put this amount of effort into what you did in that, what level do you think you'd be by now?
Well, I would have been a pro 10 a long time ago.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? He's constantly in and out of people's homes. He said, I think he told me he does, how many in-home presentations a week?
20.
Okay, so 20 in-home presentations, which is on the average, let's just say 75 a month, okay? And let's just say it's even 50, if it was 50, okay? We're only required to do 15, okay? So, you know, can you imagine? And now he's built this massive database. So now it's time for him to get moving. So, okay, so let's look at these last 2 slides. I put these on here because I think they're great. And this is what I was just talking about. It goes back to number 4. Intentionally adding value to others today will bring you the fulfillment every day. Guys, this is so awesome. I did a 3-way phone call last Sunday with a lady who just got a job with John Maxwell. Okay? Is that freaking awesome or what? And she's going to be joining the business. You know, hopefully we'll see John Maxwell holding up a Pro Tandem bottle probably pretty soon. You know, John Quinones still carries one with him everywhere he goes. Okay. So here's my last one, and then I'll bust it open for 5 minutes of questions if people have any, if they want to make some comments. Many of you are wondering, this is so good. I found this. It's so good. How can I sell someone? Maybe a better question is, how can I serve someone? So think about that. Okay. We're in the direct selling industry. We don't have to sell because we're educators. You know, we're not selling, you know, not that they're not good, but we're not selling purple glasses or candles or you know, or pins. You know, I'm grateful. I thought I lost my Pro 7 pin, and Janice Hayes found it at her house. So I'm so grateful that she wrote me a little note here. This is, guys, I want to tell you this just because it's so awesome. Just the people, you know, Suzanne can tell you, just the people she's met in the short period of time of being involved for 3 weeks. You know, Janice wrote me a little note that said, love you, and I love Lisa. You know, just these type of things, you know, just the people that you meet, being in this business, the lives that we change, the people that we meet, the people that we're going to meet. Guys, when you go, George can tell you, he was in after just a couple weeks of being involved, he was in Anaheim in California, and he was meeting people and talking to people and not laying out on his boat in the sun like he is right now. But but the most significant thing is that it made him understand. He already knew about network marketing, but it gave him and I'll just unmute him for a second. Would you say that Anaheim gave you a different perspective on how significant LifeVantage is from a company's perspective?
Exactly. In every area that you can think of, it was proven to me by being there that this is truly a special company, special timing, just special chemistry of people together. And it's you know, network marketing business have a product and they're all basically doing the same thing, but I do believe LifeVantage is truly special. And
George is funny because he tells me every time people run out of Pro Tandem that they call him frantically trying to figure out what's, you know, and so
duplication.
Exactly. So okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Hold on one second. And I'm coming back to all of you, and I'm going to unmute you guys so that if you guys, okay, does anybody have any questions or comments? Does anybody want, I'm going to stop recording.